In mid-October of 1964, kissing cousins Elizabeth and Philip paid a royal visit to a Catholic residential school for Aboriginal children in Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada. William Coombs was 12 years old at the time of the royal visit. "I was an inmate at the Kamloops school when we were visited," said Coombs. "I remember it was strange because they came by themselves, no big fanfare or nothing. But I recognized them, and the school principal told us it was the Queen, and we all got given new clothes and good food for the first time in months the day before she arrived. The day the Queen got to the school, I was part of a group of kids that went on a picnic with her and her husband and some of the priests. We went down to a meadow near Dead Man's Creek. I remember it was weird because we all had to bend down and kiss her foot, and she was wearing a white lace boot. After a while, I saw the Queen and her husband leave the picnic with 10 children from the school, and those kids never returned. They took away those 10 kids and nobody ever saw them again. We never heard anything more about them, and we never met them again even when we were older. They were all from around there, but they all vanished." The group that disappeared was 7 boys and 3 girls in age from 6 to 14 years old. They were all from the smart group in the class. 2 of the boys were brothers, and they were Mady from Quesnel. Their last name was Arnoux, or Arnold. I don't remember the others, just an occasional first name like Cecilia, and there was an Edward. What happened was also witnessed by my friend, George Adolph, who was 11 years old at the time and a student there too. But he's dead now. William Coombs, the sole survivor, was scheduled to appear as the star witness at the International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State in London, England. But William Coombs never made it to the tribunal. He died of unknown causes shortly before he was scheduled to testify. Reverend Kevin Annett, a former minister of the United Church of Canada, believes that William Coombs was murdered to stop him from speaking out about the royal abductions and other crimes of murder and torture that he had witnessed at the school.
In a nutshell, what happened was I was letting people speak from the pulpit about the crimes I'd seen in the residential school, the murders and that. I also found out about the land deals that were happening where the church was selling off native land to big logging companies for kickbacks. And I wrote a letter about that to the church. I was fired without cause and eventually thrown out of the church without any due process at all. But that one thing led to another, and I began to work a lot more with the survivors after that, the eyewitnesses to these crimes.
The Queen and Philip's trip to Canada isn't the only shopping trip they took in the 1960s. In 1961, the couple went on another shopping spree, not for children this time, but for tigers and elephants. Only a few short months before Prince Philip launched the World Wildlife Fund, he landed in Jaipur, India, with the Queen. The royal pair slipped into matching safari jackets and journeyed into India's Rajasthan jungle. A Bengal tiger was lured into the crosshairs of Philip's hunting rifle by tying a group of goats together as prey.
Oh, by Jove, there's a big fellow.
Philip shot and killed the defenseless animal, which is on the endangered species list and is facing extinction. Ian MacPhail, the World Wildlife Fund's first international appeals director, told a British TV crew that Philip shot and killed a mother elephant while her orphan calf ran off in terror. Prince Philip co-founded the World Wildlife Fund in 1961 with former Nazi SS officer Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands. Bernhard also helped found the Bilderberg group of politicians, royals, and banksters who meet annually for secret talks.
Prince Philip, a couple of months before the WWF was founded in 1961, went on a hunt, a tiger hunt, in northern India and slaughtered a bunch of tigers. Now, of course, the tiger is precisely what they're saying is going extinct. The Indian tiger is going extinct now. Now, there's a total uproar around the world about Prince Philip killing all these tigers. So as he continued on his travels, he put a bandage on his trigger finger. And he participated in another hunt, but with this big bandage there, so I can't possibly shoot anything. Now, he and Queen Elizabeth with her home camera whirring away, mounted, as part of a broader party, 300 elephants, and they went out to kill more tigers and other species. Now, Prince Philip, as the elephants started closing in on various kinds of game, a extremely rare Indian rhinoceros, of which there were only 250 in the whole world at that time, came within the circle of elephants. All of the royal party were horrified because they knew that Prince Philip would shoot it. So various people tried to shoot near the rhino to scare him away, etc. As the rhino kept blundering on, Prince Philip took aim and bam. The WWF at its founding in 1961 took under its wing, in particular, the African elephant, the African rhino, the Indian rhino, the panda, and a few others. Now, the African elephant had a population of about 3 million when the World Wildlife Fund was founded. Today, it's several hundred thousand. The African rhino had a population of 100,000. Today, it is virtually extinct in the wild. The last living rhino herd in the wild, 700 rhinos, was destroyed by the WWF. It was slaughtered when they paid for it, and the ones that weren't slaughtered were drugged and were sent off to game farms in Australia, the United States, and elsewhere among Prince Philip's cronies in the 1001 Club. That's why there's no rhinos left in the wild to speak of, because Prince Philip and his gang killed them all.
When it comes to blood sports, it's an all-in-the-family affair, like father, like son, like grandson. On a trip to Kenya, Africa, Prince William took lessons in spearing African wildlife from a Maasai tribal member. According to a Fox News report, Prince William drove a 7-foot-long spear into a small antelope and killed it. Prince William recently purchased 250 birds, pheasants, ducks, and partridges, not as pets, but as shooting targets. As the birds were set free, William shot them out of the sky like skeet at the Queen's Sandringham estate. Prince William and Daddy Charles set packs of bloodhounds after foxes in Highgrove. It's jolly good fun chasing after terrorized foxes on horseback and watching the bloodhounds tear them to shreds. The World Wildlife Fund was not created to save endangered wildlife species. On the contrary, it has made a fortune from the illegal ivory trade which it was supposed to prevent. Philip and Bernhard's World Wildlife Fund raised massive funds from corporations and public donations. They used the funds to confiscate huge tracts of land all over the world. The fund is being used as a land and power grab. The royal family's green policies have pushed native people off their ancient lands, shut down their farming, and caused food shortages and starvation. Saving animals and the environment is the phony excuse they use to pass international laws that advance their world government agenda. Prince Philip's son Charles is now the new president of the World Wildlife Fund, which has been renamed Worldwide Fund for Nature. It is one of the largest contributors to human and animal depopulation. The so-called conservation parks in Africa and elsewhere are covertly used to train terrorist groups and mercenaries. These paid mercenaries cross borders, start civil wars, and commit genocide in places like Rwanda and Kenya. Sadly, the trusting public have donated millions under the false illusion that they are supporting wildlife. 10 to 12 corporations run the world's food supply, which are grouped around Britain's Royal House of Windsor. The Windsor-led cartel includes Cargill, Continental, Monsanto, and Archer Daniels Midland, which dominate world grain, meat, dairy, edible oils and fats, fruits, vegetables, sugar, and spices. This cartel is hoarding food, minerals, and raw materials, and it has the power to shut down food production and export supplies worldwide.
A point on the environmental movement in general, a question for any of the environmentalists, so-called, in the panel there. Prince Philip was one of the key founders of the Green Movement. He said that if he were to be reincarnated, he'd want to be reincarnated into a deadly virus to solve the overpopulation problem. Well, the point is that the Green Movement was founded by those in the eugenics movement. This is Hitler Nazi race science, and this will destroy Africa. Can anyone make a comment?
Prince Philip Mountbatten, alias Battenberg, and the power elite view themselves as inheritors of the earth. Culling the population through eugenics is their answer to freeing up planet Earth's resources that are being consumed by what they consider racially inferior commoners and useless eaters.